Put
Blue
your
lights
hands up.
flashed, tires hissed. A gun
Are you
rose inches
serious
from a
right
black
now?
woman's face. She froze with her hands high. Out. Now, the cop said. I will step out, she said. She opened the door with 2 fingers and touched the ground.
Hands up,
The
don't
muzzle
move.
did not move.
I'm not
the street
doing
lamp
anything.
washed her car in white. He had a square jaw and a pressed uniform. His partner stood by the squad car, palm on his holster. Name, the first cop said. Morgan Taylor. License. In my purse. Front seat. Right side. I will reach with my right hand. Slow. Don't move your left, he said. One wrong move and this goes bad. She reached slow. She lifted her wallet. Why did you stop me? She asked. You rolled a stop, he said. Tinted plates. They are legal, she said. I stopped. You arguing. I want this safe. Put the license on the hood. She set it down. He slid it to himself. What's in the trunk, he asked. Work gear. What kind of work? Security consulting. He
Ma'am,
smirked.
I need you to
a
open the
mall
trunk of
guard?
the car.
Something like that. Pop the trunk. Do you have probable cause? She asked. I do not consent. The partner snorted. Legal talk. The gun dipped, then rose. Hands on the hood, the cop said. She placed her palms on the hood. The paint showed the gun like a dark eye. Her chest rose and fell. Cameras clicked from the sidewalk. What is in your glove box? The partner asked. Vehicle papers. Any weapons? No. Any drugs? No. Why are you tense? I want to live. A car rolled by and sped up. A woman whispered. I'm recording. Where are you coming from? The first cop asked. Downtown. Where to? Home. She named the street. He nodded like he did not like her route. Feet spread. He patted her down. Rough at the edges. Nothing found. Call it in, he said. Radio hissed. Keys tapped. What job keeps you out this late? He asked. Mine. Smart mouth. Just an answer. You live alone? Yes. Husband? Kids? No. He looked through the window. Clean SUV. One black bag on the back seat. A cap on the console. What's in the bag? Work gear. What kind? Tools. What tools? Cables. Laptop. Chargers. Open it. I do not consent, she said. If you have a warrant, I will comply. Lady, you're one breath from cuffs. I have rights. The partner returned. No warrants, he said. Valid. Clean. Keep your hands there, the first cop said. A man in a hoodie stepped closer. Why you got a gun on her? She ain't moving. Back up, the cop snapped. It's a public street, the man said. We watchin'. A bus stopped, waited, and left. More phones came up. You will sit on the curb while we search, the cop said. I do not consent. I didn't ask. You did. When you asked, she said. And I answered. He stepped closer. The muzzle rose. Sit. I am unarmed, she said. I don't want to escalate. Please lower the gun. I decide threat. Read me as human, she said. No one moved. Sweat slid behind her ear. The partner shifted. The gun stayed up. A pickup slowed at the corner. 2 taps on a horn. The cop glanced, then looked back at her. What is your employer's name? He asked. She was quiet. Thought so, he said. Big talk. Nothing behind it. Call a supervisor, the hoodie man said. Mind your business, the cop said. It is my business, the man said. The cop laughed. Then pay the tow when we impound this ride. He holstered his gun, pulled a flashlight, and angled it through the rear window. He frowned. What is that patch? He asked. Company logo. Let's see it. He opened the rear door and reached for the bag. Do not open my property without consent, she said. Too late, he said, unzipping the bag. Inside lay a black case with foam, a slim ID wallet, and a locked metal box. The patch showed a plain shield and a small eagle. He picked up the ID wallet. Stop, she said. Do not take my identification. He flipped it open. His face shifted a shade. He froze for a beat. The partner leaned in. Phones zoomed. The woman with the phone whispered, "Oh." He closed the wallet and kept it. Stay where you are, he said. I am not moving, she said. He spoke low to his partner. Radio hiss rose again. A third cruiser parked down the block. They checked the plate and the windows. They peered under the bumper. Ma'am, the partner said louder. Any sharp objects in the vehicle? No. Any medical issues? No. Any reason your hands shake? I am standing under a gun, she said. Another window opened above. Another camera pointed down. The first cop's radio chirped. He answered with a short code. His eyes fell on the wallet again. What is in the locked box? Work gear. What kind? Tools. Open it. I do not consent. He stared at her. The air felt tight. Cuffs, he said. For what? She asked. Obstruction. I am asserting my rights, she said. He hesitated. Cameras pressed in. Lights washed his face blue and white. He took a half step back. Supervisor en route, the partner said. When? The hoodie man asked. Soon. A siren wailed far off, then faded. Music thumped from a passing car. Tires crunched glass. The first cop set the wallet on the hood and kept his palm on it. He looked at her hands, the crowd, then the wallet. Ma'am, he said, lower, do not move. I am not moving. He nodded once, as if he had heard something on the radio. The street fell quiet. No one spoke. She kept her hands on the hood and watched his gun hand loosen, then tighten again. Nothing ended. Nothing was explained. Everything was about to change. Not yet. The siren stopped half a block away. A dark SUV rolled in slow, headlights cutting across faces and phones. Its doors opened. A tall officer stepped out, older, calm, uniform sharp but heavier with rank. His voice was steady. What's happening here? The first cop stiffened. Traffic stop, sir. Suspicious vehicle. Suspicious how? Tinted plate. Non-compliant behavior. Guns drawn? The supervisor asked. She refused consent to search. That's not a crime, the supervisor said. His eyes moved to the woman still standing by the hood, hands high. Ma'am, you can lower your hands. She did, slow. Her shoulders trembled. Name? The supervisor asked. Morgan Taylor. Identification? She provided it, the first cop said. I was verifying. You aimed your weapon at her. She reached for her bag, after stating it. Yes, sir, but… Stop, the supervisor said. Put the gun away. It holstered with a click. Morgan, the supervisor said. Is everything you said earlier true? Yes, officer. Do you understand why you were stopped? She nodded once. I stopped fully. The light was yellow. He said I rolled through. I did not argue. Then the gun came up. The crowd murmured. Phones tilted forward. The supervisor turned to the first cop. Why escalate to deadly force? She was nervous. That's not a threat. She refused search. That's her right. The partner shifted his feet. Sir, she was tense. So are most people when a gun is pointed at them, the supervisor said. He looked at the wallet on the hood. This hers? Yes, sir. He opened it, scanned the badge inside, and froze. Where did you get this? He asked quietly. In the bag, the first cop said. She said it was work gear. The supervisor's tone sharpened. You searched without consent? She was stalling. Without probable cause. Enough. The supervisor closed the wallet, exhaled and looked at Morgan. Ma'am, I'm going to confirm this with dispatch. Please stand by. She nodded, steady but cold. Take your time. He moved back, radio pressed to his shoulder, speaking low. The first cop tried to speak again. Stop talking, the supervisor said. The crowd grew. Another car slowed. A teenage boy whispered, This is crazy. Morgan breathed slow. She watched the streetlights ripple across chrome. Her heart thudded behind her ribs. Her voice stayed calm. I asked to speak to a supervisor earlier, she said. I'm sorry it took this long, the supervisor said. She nodded. A voice came over the radio, fast, clipped. The supervisor's eyes widened. He turned, motioning to the first cop. You didn't run the badge before opening her bag? She refused ID. She gave ID. You ignored it. Sir, you aimed a gun at an executive federal agent. The first cop blinked. What? The supervisor's tone flattened. Stand down, now. He motioned toward Morgan. Ma'am, do you wish to file a complaint? Not now, she said. Later. Understood. He looked at the crowd. Everyone clear back, please. Phones stayed up. The first cop's face drained color. Sir, federal. The supervisor ignored him. He faced Morgan. I apologize for the treatment you received tonight. It's unacceptable. She didn't respond. Her eyes stayed fixed on the cop who'd held the gun. You looked at me, she said quietly, and didn't see a person. He didn't answer. His throat moved, dry. Sir, the partner said softly. We didn't know. You weren't supposed to need to know, she said. That's the point. The supervisor's radio crackled again. He stepped back to respond. Morgan took a breath. Can I leave? The supervisor hesitated. 1 moment, please. She waited. Her hands stayed visible. A cool wind brushed through the street. The crowd began to whisper again. You good, sis? Someone called out. I'm breathing, she said. The first cop rubbed the back of his neck. Ma'am, I didn't mean. She cut in. You meant to pull your gun. His mouth opened, then closed. Every movement I made, she said, was slow, clear. You still aimed at me. I was following procedure, he said. Procedure shouldn't start with fear. The partner's radio clicked. Press is calling, he said quietly. The supervisor frowned. We'll handle it. Morgan reached for her license. The first cop flinched. She froze mid-motion, eyes meeting his. May I take it, she asked. He nodded stiffly. She picked it up. Her fingers trembled once, then steadied. I'm going to file this, she said. That's your right, the supervisor said. I know. Would you like an escort home? No, she said. I've had enough of escorts tonight. He nodded, jaw tight. She turned, walking toward her car. Each step echoed on the concrete. The headlights caught her face, strong, still, tired. The crowd parted. Some clapped, some stayed quiet. She opened her door, sat inside, and gripped the steering wheel. Her pulse hammered. She closed her eyes once, just to gather the noise in her chest. Through the window she saw the first cop still staring at the wallet he wasn't supposed to open. The supervisor said something to him. It sounded sharp. The radio flared again. She started the car. The first cop took one step forward. "Ma'am, Morgan, director." She looked at him through the glass. No word came out. She just shook her head once and rolled the window up. He stood there, pale under flashing lights, as her vehicle pulled away slow. Turning the corner, the lights faded behind her, but it wasn't over, not even close. Morning broke cold and gray. The clip from the stop hit every phone before sunrise. 10 seconds of flashing blue lights, one still frame, a white cop, gun raised, a black woman, hands high. Hashtag after hashtag trended before breakfast. In a quiet apartment, Morgan sat by the window, scrolling through the noise. Comments flooded every feed. Anger, disbelief, shock. She shut the screen off. Silence filled the room again. A call buzzed. "Unknown number," she answered. "Director Taylor," a voice said, formal, steady. "Yes, this is Deputy Marshal Allen. We're aware of last night. Are you safe?" "I'm fine," she said. "There's heat already. Media wants a statement. Civil Rights Office too. I'll handle it in person." "Yes, ma'am." She hung up, exhaled, and glanced at her badge on the table. The gold edge caught the light. She slid it into her jacket. Her hand still shook faintly. At the precinct across town, the two cops sat in a briefing room. Their supervisor leaned against the wall, arms folded. "Phones all over it," he said. "You know how bad this looks." The first cop stared down. "Sir, I didn't know who she was." "You weren't supposed to need to know." The supervisor's voice rose. "You had your gun in her face. I thought she was reaching. She told you where her hands were. She refused a search. Not a crime." The supervisor shot back. "You humiliated a federal director." The room went quiet. The partner shifted in his chair. "Sir, we followed protocol." "Protocol doesn't start with fear," the supervisor said coldly. "You escalated a stop into a national story." A door opened. The precinct captain walked in, square shoulders, deep voice. "They called from D.C., he said. "She's coming down here, today." The first cop blinked. "Here?" "Yes. You'll stay put. You'll answer questions when she arrives." He swallowed. "Sir, I didn't mean." "You'll say that to her face." Across town, Morgan drove slow, calm, though every car beside her felt too close. She pulled into the federal building lot, parked, and checked the side mirror. For a moment she saw his face again, the fear in his eyes, the finger near the trigger. She stepped out and walked through security. No smile, no small talk. Inside her office, her assistant stood waiting. "Ma'am, reporters outside," the assistant said. "I expected that. They want a quote." "Not yet." She set her bag down and opened her laptop. Emails, alerts, requests stacked one after another. She ignored them all. She opened a single document and began typing notes. Times, details, words said. Her hands were firm now, no tremor. A knock came. "Come in." It was a man in a dark suit, Internal Affairs liaison. "Director Taylor," he said. "I saw the footage. You handled yourself well." "Alive is enough," she said. He nodded. "The department wants a formal report. Also, they're reviewing the precinct's training protocols." "As they should." He hesitated. "You plan to meet them personally?" "Yes." "Is that wise?" She looked up. "It's necessary." By noon, cameras crowded the precinct steps. Reporters shouted questions, flashes bursting. The captain stepped out, face tight, refusing comment. Inside, Morgan entered with 2 federal agents beside her. The room hushed. The cops stood. She stopped at the table, eyes locked on the officer who'd pulled the gun. "Officer," she said. Her voice was calm, flat. "You stopped me last night." "Yes, ma'am." "You pointed a gun at my head." He nodded once, couldn't lift his eyes. "Why?" she asked. He swallowed. "I thought you thought what?" "That you might be dangerous." Her tone didn't rise. "Based on what?" "Your behavior. I told you every move before I made it." I wasn't sure." "You weren't sure," she repeated softly. "So you drew." He nodded again, voice breaking. "Yes, ma'am." She leaned forward slightly. "Do you know what would have happened if you fired?" Silence. The partner looked down. The room felt smaller. Morgan's voice dropped lower. "Do you know how many times this happens to people who aren't FBI directors? People who never get the chance to prove they belong alive?" He didn't answer. The supervisor spoke quietly. "Director, if I may." She held up a hand. "No, this conversation is between me and him." Her eyes never left the cop. "I didn't need to flash power to deserve respect. You saw my skin before my name. That's why this happened." He swallowed again, throat tight. "You're not sorry for me," she said. You're sorry you found out who I am. He blinked hard, speechless. She stood still for a few seconds. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the air vent. Then she turned to the captain. You'll get my full statement by evening. Yes, ma'am. And this footage? All ready with legal. Good, she said. Because this isn't about a single stop. It's about a system that trains men to fear people who look like me. The first cop finally spoke, voice cracked. What happens now? She looked at him one last time. That depends on how much truth you're willing to face. Then she walked out, slow and calm, while the cameras outside began to flash, but inside her chest, her heart still raced. Not from fear, but from something deeper, because she knew the story wasn't done. Not yet. The video didn't fade. It multiplied. Every news station replayed it. Talk shows broke it down frame by frame. The story became bigger than the street where it began. It was no longer about a stop. It was about everything behind that stop. Inside her office, Morgan watched quietly. Each replay felt heavier. Commentators debated her tone, her restraint, her calm. Some praised her, others twisted it, but she didn't care for noise. She cared for truth. Her phone rang. The Attorney General's office. Director Taylor, the voice said, "We're moving this up. DC wants your statement tonight." "I'll be there," she said. "Also, local union reps want a meeting before media pressure forces a suspension. Let them come." She ended the call. Outside her window, city lights blinked. Somewhere out there, that same cop sat in silence, replaying the night too. At the precinct, the first cop sat in a small office, no badge, no gun, both locked away. His partner sat beside him. The room smelled of coffee gone cold. "She's gonna bury us," the partner said. "She could have already," the first replied. "She didn't." "Why not?" He looked down. "Maybe she wants us to see it first." Their captain entered, voice low. "Internal review starts tomorrow. She'll testify. So will you." The first cop rubbed his temples. "Sir, I froze. It was instinct. Instinct shouldn't aim a gun at the wrong person." The captain said, "You need to understand what made that instinct." The partner shifted. "We're not racist, sir." The captain sighed. "Then prove it by learning why it looked that way." Across town, Morgan stood in a small meeting room. The union rep, a gruff older man, faced her. "Director, my officers followed procedure," he said. "Which part?" she asked. "The stop. And the gun?" He hesitated. "Tense situation. It's dark. Unknown suspect." "Unknown citizen," she corrected. "Not suspect." He frowned. "We can't train them for every scenario. You can train them not to start with fear." He sat back, quiet. "You want to protect your officers," she said. "I want to protect every person who looks like me from being misread as a threat. We both have jobs. Let's do them." He nodded slowly. "You're not filing charges." "Not today," she said. "But I'm not done." Later that evening, Morgan drove toward the department building in DC. The road stretched long, empty. Her reflection in the mirror stared back at her, steady, unreadable. Her mind replayed every second, the glare of headlights, the word stop, the click of the holster. It wasn't just fear she'd felt, it was memory. Generations of moments like that never recorded, never heard. Inside the Capitol, she entered the hearing room. Officials sat lined in silence. Cameras rolled. "Director Taylor," one began, "please recount the incident." She spoke plain, no drama. Traffic stop, gun drawn. Compliance met with aggression. De-escalation ignored. The man nodded. "You remained calm." "I had to." "Why?" "Because fear gets me killed." The room went still. Another official asked, "Do you believe the officer knew who you were?" "No," she said. "That's the problem. Respect shouldn't depend on identity." They wrote notes, faces unreadable. "Do you want disciplinary action?" one asked. "I want reform. I want training that rewires reaction before tragedy happens." After the session, she stepped outside. The press surged forward, microphones raised. "Director Taylor, are you pressing charges? Will the officer be suspended? Do you forgive him?" "I want prevention." Flashbulbs popped. Reporters shouted. She turned and walked back to her car. That night, the officer couldn't sleep. The image of her eyes stayed in his head. Calm, firm, disappointed. He sat on the edge of his bed, hands on his knees. His wife came in, quiet. "You haven't said a word all day," she whispered. He looked up. "I pointed a gun at the wrong person. You didn't know. That's what everyone says. But I should have seen more than what I feared." Tears rolled down his face. He pressed his palms together. "What if she wasn't who she is? What if I had fired?" His wife didn't answer. There was no answer big enough. The next morning, he showed up early at the precinct. Not to work, to apologize. He waited outside the federal building where he knew she'd arrive. Security watched him closely. When her car pulled up, she stepped out, same calm face. He took a step forward. Director Taylor. She looked at him, eyes steady, unreadable. Officer, I'm here to say sorry, he said. Not for what I did to my career, for what I did to you, for what I could have done. She studied him a long moment. Are you learning anything from it? Yes, ma'am. Then make sure it changes something. He nodded. It will. She paused, then said quietly, this isn't about me. It's about everyone who won't get the same chance I did. He nodded again, tears welling. I know. She turned and walked inside. Inside her office, she closed the door and exhaled. The weight in her chest didn't lift, but it shifted. She wasn't done yet. There were reforms to push, systems to confront, lives to protect. But somewhere deep down, she knew one truth. The story had only begun. The news cycle burned for days. Every outlet ran the same headline. Racist cop pulls gun on black woman. Seconds later, he discovers she's the FBI director. The footage became a mirror the country couldn't turn away from. But for Morgan, it wasn't a headline. It was a scar. 3 weeks passed. She returned to the same street. The stoplight hung above her like nothing ever happened. Same cracked road, same lamp flicker, same corner where fear met truth. Her driver offered to circle the block. She shook her head. I need to see it. She stepped out. The wind was calm this time. No sirens, no guns, just memory. She stood there for a long minute, staring at the spot where her life had almost ended. Not because of guilt or crime, but because of assumption. She whispered, never again. Back downtown, the department had called a press conference. Cameras lined every wall. City officials, reform leaders, and police brass filled the stage. Morgan sat in the front row, quiet, listening. The mayor spoke first. Change starts with facing what's wrong. We failed one of our own, and almost lost her to our own fear. He turned to her. Director Taylor, thank you for your grace. We'll do better. She didn't smile, just nodded once. Then they announced it. A new de-escalation and bias training initiative. Every recruit would undergo scenario testing. Every officer would requalify on decision protocols, not just weapons. The crowd clapped. Cameras flashed. But Morgan stayed still. She knew training wouldn't fix hearts overnight. When it ended, the officer approached from the back. His uniform was gone. Plain clothes, sleeves rolled, head low. Security watched but didn't stop him. He stopped a few feet away. Director Taylor. She turned. Officer. He nodded once. I finished the retraining. I'm staying on probation. She studied him. And what did you learn? He hesitated, then said, that the job isn't just law, it's sight, and I wasn't seeing. Her eyes softened just slightly. That's a start. He swallowed. I still don't know how you stayed that calm, she answered quietly. Because people like me don't get to panic. He looked down. You shouldn't have to. No one should, she said. For a long moment, neither spoke. The city hum buzzed outside. Horns, chatter, life moving forward. Then she said, you can make this right. Use your mistake to train others. Don't bury it. He nodded firmly. I will. She started to walk away, then turned back. Remember, I'm not your enemy. I'm the one who survived, so someone else doesn't have to die. Their eyes met one last time, hers steady, his wet with remorse. Then she left. Later that week, Morgan stood before a room full of recruits. Rows of young faces watched her, some nervous, some proud, all listening. She said, you wear a badge, but before that you wear a name. Before you aim, you must see. Before you react, you must think. She paused. The silence filled the room. One day, you'll stand where he stood, seconds from changing someone's life forever. Remember me. Remember what you saw, and remember what you almost didn't. No one moved. The room was still. When she finished, they rose in quiet respect. Not applause, respect. Outside, she walked toward her car. The sun was bright, the same street alive with noise. For once, she let herself breathe easy. As she opened the door, her phone buzzed. Another message, another meeting, another case. But she smiled faintly. This time, it wasn't exhaustion. It was purpose. The same purpose that kept her calm, kept her alive, and now would keep others from falling under the same gun. And as the car pulled away, she whispered the words that carried her through it all. Not fear, not anger, just truth. Because power isn't shown by who you stop. It's proven by who you choose to see. What a reminder. Never judge anyone by what you see, because you never know who they truly are, or the battle they're fighting inside. Before you go, I want to know, where in the world are you watching from? Go ahead, drop your country or city in the comments below. I love seeing our global family connect. And if this story touched your heart, don't just keep it to yourself. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss tomorrow's story. Trust me, it's one you'll remember. Thanks for watching, and remember, stories like this aren't just meant to be heard, they're meant to change hearts.